Mountain Creek Water Park is a sizable water park in New Jersey, but it's more well known for its former name. For many years, this property was the infamous Action Park. This amusement park was known for pushing the boundaries. While this resulted in some exciting and unique attractions, the park developed a reputation for being unsafe. Mountain Creek Water Park carries on the legacy of Action Park, but in a safe way. Many rides have been adapted or removed, but this is undoubtedly still one of the best water parks in the world for thrill rides, and I'll explain why in this review. Action Park opened back in 1978. The then Vernon Valley Ski Resort wanted a source of revenue in the summer months. This spawned Action Park, an amusement park featuring three distinct areas: Alpine Center, Motor World, and Water World. The latter was one of the nation's first water parks. The park featured innovative water slides utilizing the park's hilly terrain. You couldn't find slides like it anywhere else, but it quickly developed a reputation for being sketchy or unsafe. In the park's first decade of operation, there were 6 fatalities, and there were countless other injuries. Locals knew of the park's risks, but they still considered it a rite of passage. There have been countless documentaries covering Action Park ad nauseum, including an episode of Defunctland and HBO's Class Action Park. In short, the park's homemade attractions weren't the best engineered. Combined with the lax safety regulations and undertrained employees, it was a recipe for disaster. Action Park in its original form closed after the 1996 season. In 1998, Interwest purchased the ski resort and leased the water park out to Palace Entertainment. Action Park was renamed Mountain Creek, as the owners wanted to distance themselves from Action Park's reputation. The name change signaled a new era, and this began the park's transformation to the safer but still exciting park we see today. The park still features edgy attractions, but safety standards have been ramped way up. In 2011, the Mulville family, who originally owned Action Park, purchased the property back. From 2014 to 2016, the park shortly went by Action Park once again, but it has been known as Mountain Creek Water Park ever since. The past 2.5 decades have seen multiple rides decommissioned or modified to improve guest comfort and safety, and work is still underway. For example, the Tarzan swing was closed in 2018, and the Cannonball Falls speed slides that shot you airborne into the creek were closed sometime before that. Both attractions frequently caused injuries, but based off teasers on social media, the park is working to refurbish and reintroduce these rides in the future with enhanced safety. The Canyon Cliff Jump had both an 18-foot or 5.5 meter tall and a 23-foot or 7 meter tall platform. The larger one has been closed off presumably for rider comfort and to help out the lifeguards. But the slide that has undergone the most modifications is Colorado River. Halfway down the slide, the attraction used to diverge into 2 separate paths and reconnect back at the end. To better control the ride, now only one side is used. More notably, the ride required the use of helmets with face masks for several years because so many guests were smacking heads. The ride no longer uses helmets, but it's operated at a reduced capacity with just 2 riders per raft to prevent guests from colliding into each other. Now let's talk about the arrival experience. You will have to park quite a ways from the water park's entrance. The water park is on the same side of the street as the hotel, but you park on the opposite side of the street. One section of the slot is paved, but it's mostly just a gravelly hill. Parking is supposed to cost $10 per car, but I didn't have to pay. I arrived roughly 1 hour before park opening, and the parking attendant hadn't arrived for the day. Others I spoke with have had similar experiences over the years, so I guess it pays to arrive early. It's then a 10-minute walk to reach the park. You first walk through this village area. Then you take a footbridge that crosses over Route 94. You then pass the ski lodge and walk through this big field towards the water park. This place has shorter hours than many water parks. For the 2022 season, it was open from just 9 a.m. until just 5 p.m. While I was worried that 6 hours wouldn't be enough time to do everything, lines were thankfully minimal. I've heard that's what you'll find most weekdays. Most rides are no more than a 5 to 10 minute wait. The worst wait I saw and encountered myself was roughly a 20-minute wait for Colorado River. From what I hear, weekends are far busier, so I would try to visit on a weekday if possible. You'll have a more relaxing day and plenty of time to try everything multiple times as we did. Tickets cost $40 per day as of 2022, which is a fantastic deal if you're a thrill seeker considering what this park offers. Lockers are available for $15 to $25, plus a $5 refundable deposit depending on the size. One downside with the lockers is that they aren't the least bit shaded, so your belongings will be baking in direct sunlight. Many people will just throw their stuff on chairs instead. This is a very spacious park, so there's plenty of room. I just don't trust my valuables in the open. Now let's talk about the setup of the park. Mountain Creek is nestled in the mountains. You get some absolutely stunning vistas from the higher sections of the park, and the park uses this terrain to its advantage. Many water slides are built on the hillside. The downside with this is that it's an extremely hilly park. It is unquestionably the hilliest water park I have ever visited. Once you enter the park, you immediately need to climb a steep 30-ish foot or 10-meter tall hill just to reach the bathrooms and lockers. But you're most certainly not done. The older slides go way back down the hill, and then some. Then if you want to reach the slide tower in the very back of the park, you need to hike through the woods and up a hill. This tower is a whopping 200 feet or 60 meters above the main entrance. This park's elevation is so extreme that it can support an alpine coaster that spans much of the park. And make sure to bring flip-flops or water shoes to wear throughout the park. I almost never do this, but my friends smartly advised me to wear them, and I'm thankful I did. They cannot go on many slides, but get them as close to the entrances as possible. The terrain here is treacherous. It's jagged in many places. Expect to be walking on gravel or uneven stones in many areas of the park. The worst part was the walk up to Surf Hill. We were basically walking in these small rocks and little pieces of acorn. It was agonizing. On the bright side, this is one of the shadier water parks out there. The lower section of the park is almost completely covered by trees. It gives the park a really cool aesthetic, and it feels more organic than other water parks. The park layout can be a bit tricky for a first timer. The entrances and exits to many attractions are long walks from each other. For the tube slides specifically, you need to climb down the hills to get your tube. Then you need to climb all the way back up the hill to the slide entrance. This honestly took longer than the queue line itself. Fortunately, most of the park's best and most unique attractions are clustered together in the lower half of the park, which definitely helps for re-rides later in the day. Now let's talk about those attractions. I was blown away just how many thrill rides this park offered. Models that are not usually too extreme, such as tube slides or mat racers, have way more thrills here between their scale and crudeness. The scariest attractions in the park by far are located on the canyon. You have the Canyon Cliff Jump and the Bombs Away water slide. These are for strong swimmers only. No matter how many times I rode these, I still felt uneasy before doing them. The cliff jump is exactly how it sounds. You walk over to a platform 18 feet or 5.5 meters above the water, and you jump into the pool below. It is super unnerving walking to the edge of the platform and realizing just how high above the water you are. And you have to be the one to initiate that plunge. But it's an absolute rush jumping from those heights, and the impact with the water wasn't nearly as brutal as I expected. And this attraction is as fun to watch as it is to experience. It's a spectacle. I love how it's not just a plain platform. It's on a rocky cliff complete with waterfalls. Bombs Away is one of those water slides that ends in the air before shooting you into the pool down below. While most parks are just a 4 to 5 foot drop off, the plunge on Bombs Away is 4 times taller. It's absolutely surreal being launched off a slide and falling that far into a pool. I think Cliff Jump is more intimidating because of the visual, but this attraction is crazier. You are shot into the water with far more speed. You hit the water quite hard, so definitely be prepared. This gave me one heck of an adrenaline rush though. Just nearby are the park's oldest tube slides, Thunder Run and Golly. Both carved down the hillside and feel like a hybrid of a traditional tube slide crossed with a river rapids ride. These attractions are turbulent in the best way possible. You bounce over rapids getting little pops of airtime, and then you slide way up the walls. Thunder Run can be experienced either alone or in pairs. Golly is for single tubes only, and it's the far better and wilder ride. The smaller tubes can and will spin throughout the experience. Plus, this one features larger drops. There are some pretty steep drop-offs giving considerable zip. Heck, the ride even ends with a 3-foot drop from the slide right into the pool that's basically a mini drop track. Then you have a crazy sequence where you navigate this sharp downwards helix, and then you head down this large drop into a tunnel that you cannot see coming. Then there's Colorado River. This is the park's raft slide, and it's downright insane. It feels like an out-of-control whitewater rafting experience. There are rapids that send cascades of water into the raft. There are sudden dips that pop you into the air. Yes, you get airtime in this slide. And the turns are violent. You slide high up the side of some of the walls. On others, you comically pinball back and forth. There's no better example of this than during the tunnel sequence. This is a super narrow zigzag that keeps slamming the raft side to side. No two rides will ever be the same in Colorado River, but I can guarantee you it'll be completely out of control. And it also happens to be one of the longest slides in the world. It's nearly 2.5 minutes in duration. This is the star attraction at Mountain Creek, and it's better than most coasters out there. Speaking of coasters, Mountain Creek actually has one called the Alpine Mountain Coaster. This is one of those vegan mountain coasters. It's included with admission, and while the ride doesn't open until the second half of the day, it's typically open 1 hour after the water park. I plan to take advantage of this extended hour, but it was closed for thunderstorms before I could get on the ride. From my friends who did ride it, they said it's a decent mountain coaster. The layout is pretty standard, but you have the cool visual of going through the water park. The one thing we noticed was that there were a ton of cars on the track with minimal spacing. I saw 2 cars on the lift hill just an arm's length apart. I don't even know how that happened. This led to cars bunching up pretty severely on the descent because there always seemed to be someone going slow. Now I believe this coaster used to be offered to non-water park guests as well, but right now you can only experience it if you purchase admission to the water park. Another attraction I unfortunately missed was Rogue River. It's a deceptively intense body slide per my friends. It starts slow, but has some violent transitions towards the end. Hopefully I can try both these rides in a future visit. Surf Hill is one of the craziest mat racers out there. 1, it's considerably taller. Per Google Earth, it's at least 75 feet or 23 meters tall. 2, you're allowed to get a running and jumping start that many parks have since outlawed. 3, you seem to hydroplane the whole way down. You skim over the surface and sort of twist side to side as you navigate the quintuple dips. You won't get any airtime in this one, but the speed more than compensates. It was possible to build up enough speed to completely overshoot the runoff. If you make your way atop the hill, you'll find 2 extreme speed slides in H2O No and Zero G. H2O No is a 10-story tall speed slide where you drop straight down. The views atop the tower are stunning, and the drop is thrilling. You build up considerable speed, and it's thankfully smooth. You won't feel yourself lift off the slide though. I suspect you would have on the slides this one replaced, because they were clearly steeper since the scaffolding is still there. Zero G is a fun trapdoor slide. The initial plunge is steep and it gives a fun free fall. Then you have 2 helixes. The first was a tad uncomfortable due to the slide not being as well lubricated as others, but the second spiral built up a ton of speed. The helixes weren't too forceful in this one, but the overall experience was a bit longer than others. Also on this hill are 2 tube slides in Vortex and Vertigo. Both are enclosed and finished with large drops. While they aren't quite steep enough to give airtime, they are very zippy because of how much speed you have going into them. The other adult tube slide here is Alpine Rush. This tube slide features multi-sensory effects such as music, lighting, and screens, although the latter were not working for me on the day I visited. The slide itself was pretty tame, especially compared to the rest of the park's offerings. There weren't any notable dips or turns along the way. This ride was 100% reliant on those effects. There aren't as many slides as some other water parks, but the quality of the top offerings definitely kept me busy all day. I just wanted to keep re-riding things. And more attractions should be on the way with the Tarzan Swing and Cannonball Fall supposedly being teased. Plus, I imagine the park wants to replace the high-anxiety funnel slide that recently burned down. Along with the slides, there's a massive wave pool. It's one of the largest I've seen. Kids have a few options, but as I mentioned earlier, this park really does cater more to adults and thrill seekers. There is a dedicated tube slide just for them, a smaller lazy river, and 2 water play areas. The better of the 2 appeared to be the fishing village, which had a themed little play structure and some smaller slides. The park has some food stands, but because of the park's limited hours, I didn't try anything while I was there. I spent all my time enjoying the attractions. So do I recommend Mountain Creek Water Park? If you love thrilling water slides, absolutely. This is one of my favorite water parks without a doubt. You won't find a slide lineup quite like this anywhere else. Most attractions seem to have an edge to them, and I really like that. Colorado River is pure chaos and one of the most unique experiences you can get at any water park. Golly is another tube slide that feels out of control. Then you have several other extreme attractions like the cliff jump, Bombs Away, and the speed slides. While the park's hilly and forested terrain was annoying to navigate, it resulted in a unique atmosphere. I do think this park could improve the kiddie and family department though. What they have is fine, the park just specializes in extreme attractions, which makes sense considering this was Action Park back in the day. Now if you're a coaster enthusiast who only wants to visit for the mountain coaster, I think you're doing it wrong. The top slides here are better than most coasters and offer truly unique experiences. Even if you normally aren't a big water park fan, I think you need to check this one out. It's just so special. So those are my thoughts on Mountain Creek Water Park, aka Action Park Reborn. What are your thoughts on this one-of-a-kind water park? Let me know down in the comments, especially if you visited back when it was still Action Park. If you enjoyed this review, I'd appreciate it if you gave this video a like, and you considered subscribing, because there'll be a lot more roller coaster and amusement park videos here at Canobie Coaster. Thanks for watching.